In this week's Waste of the Week, the Department of Homeland Security spending more than $400 million a year just to track migrants who've been processed at the border and allowed to enter the U.S. until their court dates. Here to discuss, founder and CEO of OpenTheBooks.com, Adam Andrzejewski. Adam, happy Friday to you. Welcome back to the National Desk.
Thank you, Jan.
So DHS gives SmartLink cell phones to the millions of illegal migrants who've entered the U.S. The phones use facial recognition and GPS monitoring. How does this work?
So if you cross the border on an illegal basis, you're an illegal entrant. If you're picked up by border crossing officials, you're then processed. As a part of that process, in order to track folks that are in the country, now they're given these electronic devices. So these electronic devices, they have GPS and facial recognition. People are supposed to call in. They're supposed to accept calls from their ICE immigration official using this device. It can also be installed as a smart app on their cell phone as well.
Now, these costs have added up to more than $1 million a day. So how effective has this method been?
Well, ICE itself says even with these electronic monitoring devices, they only have the capability to monitor about 5% of all the illegal entrants in the program. Jan, there's a transparency problem with the program. According to different news reports, these electronic monitoring, quote unquote, phones or apps cost taxpayers between $4 or $7 a day. At $4 a day, it's a $400 million cost right now because there's 250,000 people being tracked by these things. At $7 a day, you're approaching $1 billion already with little transparency on what the actual costs are.
Yeah, meaning there's limited data to prove the effectiveness of this program. Where are these checks and balances that keep this program going? Why are they continuing it?
So certainly you need to know who's here, where they're at, when they're going home, or if they do have a legal path eventually to citizenship. And so it's basically a logistics problem, Jan. You've got 4 million people that have been arrested at the border just in the past 2 years. There are only 18,000 people in detention. There's only 320,000 people in this alternative plan. The alternative plan to detention uses ankle bracelets. There's about 41,000 people in that plan. There's 256,000 people with these quote unquote cell phones or monitoring apps. So you basically have a huge crush that has stressed out the entire immigration system in the country, and so they're looking at alternative methods to track people.
Right. So ICE estimated the number of SmartLink users has increased by more than 880%. And as you mentioned, this is the alternative to the detention program, which costs considerably more if migrants are detained until court hearings. But this also requires more staff to monitor these devices. How much more does it cost to detain someone? And what are agents considering when determining the appropriate tracking method for each individual?
So it's about $4 to $7 a day for the electronic monitoring system that we're talking about here with a cell phone or an app, and it's $140 a day to actually physically detain somebody. The Biden administration admits 70% of those people detained don't have a criminal background. That means 30% are in detention actually have a criminal background. The Biden administration, out of the 4 million illegal entrants, has only turned away 14% and expelled them. Has only expelled 36%. The Trump administration had expelled 83%. So there's been a change in policy, and that's led to some of these other things that are trying to get a handle on who's here, where they're at, when they're going home, or if they have a legal pathway to citizenship.
All right. Founder of OpenTheBooks.com and CEO Adam Andrzejewski. Always great to see you. I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jan.